Why you overthink and how to stop it. Have you ever caught yourself lying in bed, staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., replaying that one conversation from earlier in the day? You think about what you said, and then what you should have said. You wonder if they misunderstood you. Maybe you were too blunt, or too quiet. Maybe they were offended, or maybe they didn't even notice, but still, your mind won't let it go. You check your phone again. That one text you sent 2 hours ago. No reply. You read it back. Did it sound okay? Should you have added a smiley face? Was it too much? Too little? And just like that, you're no longer in the moment. You're trapped, stuck in a loop, reliving the past or predicting the future. You call it thinking. But this isn't clarity. It's noise. It's your mind spinning in circles, hoping that if you think long enough, hard enough, you'll feel better. But you don't. You just feel tired. That's overthinking, and most of us do it without even realizing it. Overthinking isn't just thinking a lot, it's thinking without an end. It's when your thoughts stop being helpful and start becoming a maze, looping back on themselves with no exit. You sit with a problem, hoping to figure it out, but instead of finding a solution, you find yourself deeper in doubt. You go over the same thoughts again and again, not because you're solving something, but because you're stuck trying to feel in control of what already happened, or what hasn't happened yet. There are two ways the mind tends to trap us. One is ruminating. That's when you keep revisiting the past, like a scene on repeat. Why did I say that? What if I had acted differently? Maybe they hate me now. You dissect moments that are already gone, hoping for peace but only finding more unease. Then there's worrying, imagining what could go wrong in the future. What if I fail? What if they leave? What if something bad happens? You try to prepare yourself, but in truth, you're just exhausting your present moment for a future that may never even arrive. In The Untethered Soul, Michael A. Singer writes, "There is nothing more important to true growth than realizing that you are not the voice of the mind. You are the one who hears it. And once you realize that, everything begins to shift. You start noticing the storm without getting pulled into it." We overthink because deep down, we're trying to protect ourselves. Our mind believes that if it can just think enough, it can avoid pain, or worse, the unknown. We crave control. And when life throws us into uncertainty, when we don't get a clear answer, when someone's behavior confuses us, when the future feels shaky, our brain starts building scenarios, like mental simulations. Not to harm us, but to help us feel safe. But in reality, overthinking doesn't create safety, it creates paralysis. Sometimes we're haunted by the fear of regret. We want to make the perfect choice, so we think and rethink and hesitate until the moment is gone. Other times, it's perfectionism. We believe there's only one right way to say it, do it, live it, and if we mess up, we'll fall apart. Then there's the fear of failure. The "what if I try and don't succeed?" thought that plays over and over in our heads like background music we never turned on. And let's not forget, social pressure, the silent weight of needing to be accepted, liked, approved. Daniel Kahneman, in Thinking Fast and Slow, says, "Our comforting conviction that the world makes sense rests on a secure foundation, our almost unlimited ability to ignore our ignorance." That's what overthinking often is, our mind pretending it can predict or control what it simply cannot. But life doesn't come with guarantees, and no amount of mental rehearsal can protect us from being human. Overthinking feels like you're doing something, but you're not. You're sitting in the same chair, asking the same questions, stuck in the same cycle. And while your mind races, your life stands still. It drains your energy in ways you don't even notice until one day you wake up tired, not from doing too much, but from thinking too much. You don't solve problems when you overthink, you avoid them. You don't make decisions, you stall until they're made for you. Time slips through your fingers while your brain replays what-ifs and maybes on a loop. You tell yourself you're being careful, but really, you're just scared. It starts quietly, maybe with a sleepless night here and there. Then come the anxiety attacks in the middle of the day. Tasks that once felt simple suddenly feel overwhelming, so you procrastinate, not out of laziness, but out of mental fatigue. You become emotionally exhausted, even in moments of silence. And sometimes, by the time you finally get clarity, the opportunity is gone. Research from UC Santa Barbara confirms this. People who overthink too much actually become worse at solving real problems. Because when the mind is cluttered with doubt and fear, logic loses its voice. Clarity doesn't come from thinking harder, it comes from thinking less and feeling present. You can't stop your thoughts. No one can. The mind was made to think, to question, to wander. But what you can do is stop believing every thought. Stop chasing each one as if it's the truth. Because most of the time, they're just noise echoes of fear, old memories, or imagined futures. The first step is awareness. You can't change what you don't notice. So when the loop begins, pause, name it. Say to yourself, I'm overthinking. That simple act creates space between you and the thought. Then take action. Overthinking is often your brain's way of telling you, there's a decision here and I'm scared to make it. But clarity doesn't come from more thinking. It comes from doing. Make the call. Say yes. Say no. Choose. Even if it's imperfect, it moves you forward. Another simple but powerful tool. Give yourself a time limit. Let yourself think, but set boundaries. I'll think about this for 5 minutes. Then I move on. Because freedom doesn't always come from silence. Sometimes it comes from structure. And if the thoughts are too loud, write them down. Journaling is like draining a cup that's overflowing. When the thoughts leave your head and land on paper, they lose their power. As Eckhart Tolle says in The Power of Now, realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. And when you begin to live there, really live here, overthinking starts to fade like background noise you no longer need to listen to. Most people live their whole lives believing they are their thoughts, that every anxious voice, every doubtful whisper, every imagined disaster is them. But the truth is simpler and more freeing. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who notices them. You are the awareness behind the noise. And once you begin to understand that, you can start building habits that separate you from the chaos in your mind. Start with meditation, even 5 minutes a day. Apps like Headspace or Calm aren't just trendy solutions. They're tools that teach your brain to sit with thoughts without getting caught in them. Then there's the power of mindful walking. No music, no phone, just your feet on the ground, your breath, and the present moment. Watch the trees, feel the air, come back to your body. Talk to someone. Not every thought deserves to echo only in your mind. A friend, a therapist, sometimes saying it out loud makes it lose its hold. And don't underestimate breathing. Box breathing in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold again resets your nervous system. It's simple, but powerful. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And that's the shift. Learning to stop wrestling with the world and start mastering the inner one. I remember a friend who had just graduated smart, capable, full of potential. He landed an interview at a company he really admired. Afterward, he couldn't stop thinking about it. Every day, he'd replay the conversation in his head. Did I talk too much when they asked about teamwork? Maybe I should have mentioned that extra project I did. He read into every pause, every facial expression. For 3 whole months, he lived inside that 1 hour. He didn't apply to other places. He didn't travel. He barely slept. He kept telling himself, maybe they're still deciding. But what he didn't know was, the company had already hired someone before his interview even ended. The outcome had never been in his control. All that time, all that mental energy wasted on a moment that was already gone. That's the trap of overthinking. It makes you believe you can change something just by obsessing over it, but the truth is, most of what we overthink never even happens. And some of it never even mattered in the first place. You said, you're not weak because you overthink. You're not broken or lazy or dramatic. You're simply human, a mind trying to make sense of uncertainty, trying to protect itself in a world that rarely gives guarantees. But growth begins when you stop letting fear drive and start choosing action, even small, imperfect ones. It begins when you pull yourself out of the endless loops and come back to now. Because this moment, not the one you regret, not the one you're afraid of, this moment is where your life actually is. Lao Tzu once said, "If you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present." So the next time your mind starts spiraling, pause, breathe, and gently ask yourself, is this helping me or is this holding me? The answer might just set you free. It makes you believe you can change something just by obsessing over it. But the truth is, most of what we overthink never even happens, and some of it never even mattered in the first place. You said, you're not weak because you overthink. You're not broken or lazy or dramatic. You're simply human, a mind trying to make sense of uncertainty, trying to protect itself in a world that rarely gives guarantees. But growth begins when you stop letting fear drive and start choosing action, even small, imperfect ones. It begins when you pull yourself out of the endless loops and come back to now. Because this moment, not the one you regret, not the one you're afraid of, this moment is where your life actually is. Lao Tzu once said, "If you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present." So the next time your mind starts spiraling, pause, breathe, and gently ask yourself, is this helping me or is this holding me? The answer might just set you free.